In our previous video, part 1, we looked at what data validation is and how it can help to restrict the type of data that can be entered into a particular cell or data range. Now, today we're going to look at other aspects of data validation. Let's look at this exercise. We have names here, and what we are to do is to enter account numbers here. Now, we are told under the illustration that the account numbers should be 10 digits, which means an account number that is not 10 digits is an invalid account number and will not be allowed here. Now, this will actually help to reduce errors of entering 10 or 11 digit account number instead of 10 digits. Now, we're looking at all account numbers, bank account numbers in Nigeria at 10 digits, which means if you operate an account in Nigeria, the account number must be 10 digits. So the first thing is to restrict the whole of this area to only account numbers that have 10 digits. The second aspect is that no two staff have the same account number. So we are also going to restrict entering account number twice erroneously. So the first thing is to highlight the whole of that area that I want to put those values. I could have as well highlighted the whole column by clicking on the letter C, and then I call up the data validation. We know where it is. Click on data tab. In the data tools group, you select data validation and come to this menu. Now, to call up this menu, the shortcut is Alt-AVV. So if I don't want to go through this route, I just say Alt-AVV, and then I call up this menu. Now, I've highlighted my data range, and then I go to setting. We know the three headings here. I've actually mentioned that in the earlier video. Now, I'm seeing that any value is what's allowed. What that simply means is that the area I've highlighted, that data range, by default can take any value. So it can take a number, it can take a figure, it can take an alphanumeric data. But that's not what I want. I want to restrict the length of data that can be in that place. So I take text length. And since I want exact number, I'll say equal to, and it's asking me what is the length, and I can type 10 here. Now that's all I need to do. I click OK, that will be formatted. Now the next thing is, I want to put an error message here saying if I mistakenly enter a number that is not 10, I should get an error like account number should be 10 digits. So I get this error each time I enter an account number that doesn't meet that requirement. So simply doing this, I have actually safeguarded myself against entering numbers that are not 10 digits and reduce creating room for reconciliation error. Now the next thing is no two staff have the same account number. So what I'm doing as I'm building my template is simply to format that place conditionally such that if I enter any number twice, it will show me. And how do I do that? I click on my home tab, I come to the styles group, and on top I'll see conditional formatting. On top of that, I'll take highlight cells rule, and the last thing I'm seeing to the right is duplicate value. So I click on this. Now I'm going to take OK, saying if any value appears more than once, it should show it in the light color up there. So I click on OK. Now that's all I need to do, and my work is done. So I come here at my test, an account number with 10 digits, and I hit my enter and it goes. So this is correct. I hit another account number. This is also correct. I enter another account number. This is correct. Now, mistakenly, I enter a 9-digit account number. This is 9 digits. And I hit my enter. Look at what it's going to tell me. Account numbers should be 10 digits. So that error of entering 911 will not occur. So I have actually been able to protect that. Now, let's assume I enter the number 1 account number. Again, erroneously. That's 784-563, I guess that's it, 563-9874. Now, this number is already existing. The moment I hit my enter, the system points to it that this number has been entered before. So I can actually avoid entering one number multiple times. This is how to prevent this account number digits as well as avoiding multiple entries in the cell. Now, let's go to the next one where I call that maximum date. What is the challenge here? What are we supposed to do? we are told that your company policy on annual leave is that a staff can only apply for his annual leave, for his first annual leave after his 1 year work experience, work anniversary. HR audit review last year shows that some staff applied for and were granted leave requests before their 1 year work anniversary. To avoid a repeat of such issues, you are required to create a template that disallows any leave application where the leave application date is less than 365 days from employment date. That is easy to achieve. Now, we want to avoid HR granting leave to staff who are less than 1 year. Now, we already have this HR information here, the staff employment data there. So we get the staff application, we just need to put in the application date here. And we want the system to compare this date with the leave date. If it is less than or equal to 365 days after the employment date, then the person is not qualified for leave. The leave should be a day that is higher than 1 year after employment date. So let's try to find out 1 year after this. In some previous video, I've mentioned that dates and numbers in Excel are basically the same thing. It's formatting that changes them. So I'm going to just add normal numbers. If I add 365 here, I'm saying that this is the 1 year anniversary of these guys. So let me just put that here as a helper column. So we're saying that for this guy to apply for leave, his offer letter must be dated a day after this anniversary. So I won't bother to do this. All I will do is come here and I'm going to highlight the root. I can do it on one cell and call up my data validation or AVV. This calls up my data validation. I go to setting. Now it's going to tell me any value. This time I'm going to select a custom formatting. And what am I doing here? I'm saying that the value here must be greater than the employment date plus 365. That's all I'll do. And I can come to my error alert if I so with that's optional. And I can say if you default, probably you're applying before your 1 year anniversary. I want the message to say staff not qualified for annual. Okay, let me put it that way. Staff not qualified for annual leave, and I take OK. So let's test this because I've built my template, and this guy applies for leave in August, let's say August 8, 2026. This will fly because it's above that it goes. This guy applies for leave on the 2nd of October 2026. This is also okay. This guy applies for leave on the 9th, okay, 8th of July 2026. This is not okay because it hasn't stayed 1 year. Now hit enter is what we're going to get. Staff not qualified for annual leave. So it's very easy for me to set up my template and avoid some error that internal audit will pick later as non-compliance errors from the HR or whoever is doing this. So you do this to actually prevent those kind of errors like, oh, somebody applies for leave, it's been granted, you find out later, oh, the guy wasn't qualified for leave, is not worked up to 1 year. Create a simple sheet like this, key in the application date. The system compares it with you don't actually need this column, with the employment date, and then validates for you whether the person is qualified for leave or not. Now, the next one we are going to look at, I call that bonus. What are we supposed to look at? The illustration. The illustration says Zanas Limited pays quarterly bonus to its staff. The bonus, which is based on appraisal, must not be more than 20% of the gross monthly salary of the staff. What are we required to do? Create a validation column that checks when an amount greater than 20% of any staff salary is being imputed as bonus. So that's quite easy. We have this column for bonus. This is the salary. I was saying after staff appraisal, the bonus will be paid. And the highest you can get in your bonus, assuming you are scored an A, is 20% of your gross salary, which is the value we have here. So what if somebody enters a bonus for you that is more than 20% of your gross salary? If there are no checks, the system will not be able to detect it. So we are going to build a validation saying that if an amount entered as bonus is higher than 20% of your salary, it should immediately flag it that amount cannot be more than 20% of your gross salary. So let's look at what should be the maximum amount, for example. Say 20%, which is 20% multiplied by this. So for this person, this is going to be his maximum salary, maximum bonus. So I'm coming here, I can highlight the whole thing. Remember what I said, you can do it on one cell and copy down, but that's not a problem. I'm highlighting the whole of this and I'm calling up this. I'm going to setting and I'm going to use a formula, custom, and then I take a formula. And what is my formula? Saying that whatever is here must be less or equal to. Now, less or equal to, using Excel, is writing the two signs separately. You write less and you put equal to in front. You know, basic arithmetic, you write less than and then you put a stroke under. And Excel doesn't have that font feature. So I'm going to say that amount must be less than or equal to 20%. Let me take that as 0.2 multiplied by the gross salary. This is all that I require here, multiplied by the gross salary. So if I take my OK, that should be fine. But if I come here and also put a remark saying any default you turn to bonus, let me say bonus cannot be greater than 20% of salary. Yeah, I can put something like that. And then I click OK. Fine. So let me take this guy's bonus. His maximum is 55. Let me assume I enter 49. Okay, or 48. Now this goes. This is 74. You can take up 74. So let me take 73. This should also go. This guy is 33. Let me put 29. This should go. This guy is 71. Let me put 82. Yeah. Look at what it's going to tell me. I have put an amount that is beyond 20% of his annual pay. And then it gives me this sign. Bonus cannot be greater than 20% of salary. So this way, I have been able to create a validation that checks the kind of data that I'm entering into this place. Remember, we define validation as restricting the type of data or type of value that can go into a cell or a data range. So this is how to create those validations. Validation is a very wide area in Excel, and that's why we took it in 2 bits. We took the part 1 in the previous video, and then we've just taken the part 2 now. So thank you very much for listening. In other videos, I want to see much more of what Excel can do when it comes to analyzing and cleaning data.